After finding a giant egg brought in by the sea, a group of young people are stranded on the beach and have to survive the mysterious sand that devours everyone who touches the ground. Today we're going to recap the story of the movie, The Sand, from 2015. In a coastal area far from the city of Las Vegas, a large group of young people decide to have a beach party, where they have fun with various challenges, music and drinks. To make things even more interesting, Mitch, one of the members of the gang, orders all the young people to put their cell phones away, saying that they will only get them back when the party is over. While the young people party wildly, Vance and Gilbert are tasked with finding wood for the fire, but when they return, they reveal that they have found a giant, bizarre object that has a disturbing appearance. Even though they are afraid of what they have just encountered, the teenagers don't care and continue with their activities as normal. In the morning, the festivities were over, and some of the young people stayed on after a long night of partying. Kaylee and Mitch wake up in the lifeboat and decide to go home, but just as they are about to climb down from the tower, the girl notices that a small bird is stuck in the ground, and after a few seconds, the animal is completely devoured by the sand. In a vehicle next to the cabin, the rest of the group wakes up, and Chanda notices that her friend Marcia is still unconscious, asleep on one of the wooden tables. So that they can all leave together, the young woman calls for her friend, who wakes up feeling nauseous after drinking too much the night before. When she realizes that the girl is about to hit the floor, Kaylee tries to warn Marcia that something is wrong with the sand, but she doesn't listen and gets off the table. As soon as she hit the ground, Marcia's feet were suddenly trapped, as if something had captured her. Confused by what is happening, she tries to use her hands to free herself, but this only makes matters worse, causing her to scream in despair as she is slowly swallowed. Concerned, Vance decides to get out of the vehicle to rescue his friend, but as soon as he tries to run to her, he ends up being knocked down and instantly stuck in the sand. Panicked by all the chaos, the young people try to find a way to rescue Vance, who is screaming for help more and more. Mitch quickly throws a life raft towards the young man and asks him to grab it so they can pull him into the cabin. However, the young man can no longer move, and soon afterwards, his face is melted by the sand, which, after finishing him off, takes his body down to earth along with Marcia. Terrified by the sudden elimination, the young people try to understand what might be underneath and how they can escape. In a panic, Ronnie says that the beach may have been affected by chemical substances used by the government in bizarre experiments. Jonah believes that this is impossible, and theorizes that it could be some kind of quicksand, which is capable of dissolving human skin, and that they could free the young man if they managed to dig him out. Chanda suggests that the group try to contact the police, so that they can ask for a ransom. Upon hearing this, Gilbert says that the cell phones may still be working, and asks where they are. The problem is that thanks to Mitch, all the cell phones are still in the trunk of the car, which had its battery burnt out after being parked with the headlights on all night. In order to get more information, Kaylee goes to the edge of the staircase, and as she brings her hand close to the ground, she notices countless tentacles in the sand, which try to pull in any living thing that comes close. At that moment, Gilbert wakes up and realizes that he has been placed inside a metal barrel with a very unpleasant drawing on his face. He becomes furious and orders the young men to remove him from the object, while he tries to wiggle his way out. Wanting to prevent the young man from being swallowed up by the beach, the rest of the group warns him about the situation, and after finding out about the elimination of his two friends, Gilbert despairs and struggles even more. Trying to calm him down, Mitch tells him that the tide will rise in the next few hours, allowing the young man to leave the site safely. So all he has to do is pull himself together and wait. After calming the situation, Kaylee questions Mitch, saying that the tide won't rise enough for Gilbert to be saved, and the young man says that he only said that to make his friend believe that he will survive. Several hours go by, and the young people are still stuck on the beach, as they are burned more and more by the sun, since they have no way of escaping. In the lifeboat, Kaylee investigates the compartments and finds a box of matches, which she decides to save for an emergency. The girl also gets some sunscreen and quickly gives it to her friends who are trapped in the vehicle so that they can protect themselves from sunburn. Analyzing the events, the teenagers get together to recap the night before, and Kaylee says that everyone who attended the party camped out on the beach. At this point, the group realizes that all the other members have already been wiped out by the sand, leaving only their belongings behind. While Jonah delivers sunscreen to Gilbert, who is being frequently sunburned, Kaylee observes the beach, and notices that the giant object brought by Vance and Gilbert the night before is destroyed. Looking at the wreckage, the young people realize that it could be an alien egg, which hatched when everyone was asleep. When he hears this, Gilbert becomes desperate and goes back to swinging on the barrel, but Kaylee calms him down and tells him that this creature is probably not yet in its adult form, so they still have a chance of surviving. so that they can find out the maximum distance at which the monster can attack. The girl takes a packet of sausages and throws one of them far away. As soon as it touches the ground, the food is quickly devoured by the sand, and Kaylee says that they can repeat this same process until they find the limit that the creature can reach. Mitch tries to throw another sausage away, but a seagull ends up catching the food and makes its meal right in front of Gilbert, who is outraged that he didn't get any food. Before throwing the last sausage, Kaylee asks her friend to try throwing it in another direction, and in doing so, they finally find the point where the tentacles can't reach. Everyone is relieved by the new discovery, but Chanda tells them that it won't make any difference, as the place is too far away and they have no safe way of getting around. Furious that they have no way of escaping, Jonah has an idea and takes the surfboards from the vehicle so that he can walk safely along the beach. Gradually, he manages to get closer to the wooden table, but as soon as he puts his feet on the benches, one of the boards starts to slide along the ground, causing the young man to lose his balance and become suspended over the sand. At that moment, everyone goes into despair as they watch the creature's tentacles slowly reach Jonah's body, who screams in pain. To save himself, the young man jumps with all his might, managing to grab onto the table. However, he realizes that serious wounds have been inflicted on his stomach, causing him to lie down in agony. The young people quickly try to calm the young man down, who manages to get up after a few minutes. Jonah investigates one of the bags, where he finds large quantities of food. While collecting all that food, he drops a banana on the ground, and when he retrieves it, the young man notices that for some reason, the tentacles didn't manage to grab the fruit in time. With that, Jonah realizes that the creature couldn't appear in the same place where the bonfire was lit last night, which means that fire is the only thing that can stop it from spreading. This even allows the young man to step onto the ground without any danger, but as soon as he stands up, he notices that his stomach wounds have worsened, making him even weaker and more desperate. Realizing that her friend is not well, Kaylee tries to calm him down and asks him to throw some food to the rest of the group. Trying to stand his ground, Jonah throws the supplies in the direction of his friends, but just as he was about to throw one of the drinks at Mitch, he feels his wounds opening up, and he writhes in pain. The can falls to the ground. Suddenly, Jonah's injury begins to worsen, causing extreme pain, which causes him to collapse on the table. To make matters worse, the sand tentacles keep the boards away, so that the young man is completely surrounded. At the same time, other tentacles attack the vehicle, bursting all the tires and making it impossible for the young people to escape. Mitch believes that if the group manages to recover the cell phones, they will be able to call for help. So Ronnie asks Chanda to open the trunk, while she balances on the bumper, so that she can access the container in which the devices are stored. Before carrying out her plan, the girl tells her that she has written a goodbye letter, and that if anything happens, Chanda will have to give it to her mother. With great care, Ronnie is held by her friend and balances on the bumper of the car, managing to unlock the trunk. The problem is that every time the girl tries to open it, she slips and the fall causes the compartment to close. Even so, they don't give up, and try to repeat the strategy several times, but to no avail, until Kaylee has an idea, and grabs the lifesaver's rescue hook, so that she can hold Rooney. The girl manages to open the trunk, but just then a police car appears and starts honking at the group. Distracted by the noise, Ronnie ends up slipping again, causing her fingers to be crushed by the trunk. After approaching the spot, the patrolman asks what the young people are doing there alone, as the beach is closed. Kaylee tries to explain about the creature under the sand, and begs him to stay in the car, because that's the only way he'll be safe. At the same time, Gilbert begs him to call in the National Guard, as what is on the beach could be a global threat. The problem is that the officer believes that the teenagers are under the influence of chemical substances, and doesn't listen to the reports, getting off the car as normal. Thanks to his boots, which are extremely resistant, the officer is able to walk calmly around the site, while the tentacles chase him, trying to grab him silently. In order to understand what is going on, the policeman examines Jonah's body, which is still extremely injured, with an infection that is getting worse and worse, while Ronnie's hand is still stuck in the vehicle. Right away, he tries to pull Gilbert out of the metal barrel, but the young man is too heavy, and even with the man's help, he can't free himself. When he realizes that he won't be able to help any of the young people, he asks Kaylee and Mitch to come down from the lifeguard station so they can answer some questions. Desperate, Kaylee tries to explain the situation the group is in, saying that some of them are injured, others sick, and that there have already been eliminations at the site, so they need to get out of there as soon as possible. No matter how much the policeman insisted, the pair refused to go near the sand, causing him to lose patience and take out his pepper spray so that he could force them back. However, he ends up knocking the object over and stands on the sand to retrieve it. At that moment, his hand is grabbed by the tentacles, which begin to pull him underground. Trying to free himself, the man uses his pepper spray against the sand, allowing him to free himself, but it's too late, as his arm has already been completely swallowed by the creature. Stunned by the pain, he can do nothing but scream in agony, while everyone watches the scene in terror. Disgusted that the man didn't believe her words, Kaylee goes to the end of the ladder and grabs the spray, leaving the patrol man alone to be finished off by the monster. Now that he has a new weapon, Mitch plans a way to escape, saying that since he is the fastest member of the group, he will have a better chance of escaping and calling for help. He then decides that he will wrap the towels around his feet, as with the pepper spray, which will stun the creature, he should have enough time to escape. So the young man asks Chanda to throw the towels to him, but as soon as he tries to catch them, a piece of the railing is destroyed, and he ends up falling out of the beach cabin, instantly trapped by the sand. Desperate, Mitch starts screaming for help, saying that he can't feel any part of his body anymore, but none of the members can reach him, causing him to be completely dominated by the creature. In a few seconds, the tentacles of sand go through Mitch's throat, and he suddenly stops moving. Just then, the young man's body is destroyed by the monster, which leaves only a large bloodstain behind. Realizing that there will be no survivors if they continue to stay there, Kaylee pulls herself together and calms her companions down so that they can come up with a new escape strategy. The girl quickly removes another piece of the railing and throws it at Chanda, who puts the objects together on the hood. With everything ready, she jumps into the vehicle, and after joining her friend, they manage to free Ronnie and bandage her injured hand with a cloth so that they can relieve her pain. At the same time, Kaylee tries to calm Gilbert down and tells him that they will save him as soon as they find a way to reach the barrel. So all the young man has to do is wait. Immediately afterwards, the trio position the wooden debris on the sand and balance themselves as they walk to the table where Jonah is. Ronnie is the last to cross the platform, and halfway across, she realizes that her wound is causing her to lose more and more blood, and the weakness makes her unbalance and fall to the ground. As a result, she comes into contact with the ground, and as much as Kaylee tries to save her friend with pepper spray, the tentacles still manage to capture the girl, who is quickly pulled underground. With only 4 survivors left, they continue their escape plan, and Chanda carries out the strategy created by Mitch, and wraps her feet with the towels the spray was used on, so that she can run to the vehicle. When they notice that Chanda has been able to reach the vehicle, Gilbert is excited, as they now have a chance of survival. However, the celebration is interrupted by the creature, which seeps under the metal barrel and creates a tremor in the ground that begins to destroy the young man's body from the inside out. With no way out, Gilbert is completely devoured by the alien, which uses its real tentacles to pull him down to the beach. Terrified by the elimination of her friend, Chanda begins to cry, and the monster takes advantage of the distraction to attack the vehicle, knocking the girl unconscious on the hood. During the night, the trio remains trapped on the beach, until Kaylee finally manages to wake up her friend, who has been passed out for several hours. While investigating the vehicle, Chanda finds a lifeboat and throws it on the ground so that she can fill it up and use it as a platform to move around the sand. Soon after, she approaches the wooden table, and with Kaylee's help, they bring Jonah to the car, as the young man is totally weakened by the pain of his injuries. Just as they were about to leave, a huge tentacle emerges from the ground, and the tremor causes Kaylee to be thrown back into the lifeboat. The girl quickly runs up to the roof of the car and tries to grab one of the gallons of fuel, but the monster makes another attack and grabs the object, throwing it away. Even so, Kaylee doesn't give up, and after taking the last gallon from the vehicle, she gets up and pours the gasoline around the place, creating a circle of fuel around the vehicle. Before the creature could launch its next attack, Kaylee took the box of matches she had found and lit the fuel trail, which set the monster's body ablaze. While witnessing the giant monster being incinerated, the girl returns to the vehicle, where the pair try to protect themselves from the countless glowing tentacles that are trying to invade the car. In a few minutes, the creature finally retreats, leaving the young people alone, but when they look at Jonah, the girls realize that the young man is no longer alive, and in tears, they say goodbye to their last friend. Realizing that they will have no choice but to wait for someone to show up, the girls hug each other and try to rest after a long day of combat. In the morning, a surfer approaches the vehicle, and noticing that everyone is unconscious, he knocks on the window, which wakes the teenagers up and opens the door. When they realize that they can step on the sand without any problem, the girls are relieved, and after leaving Jonah's body in the car, they leave the place, which is now nothing more than a large crater where the alien had infiltrated. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.